Hello, Bookworms. Welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we are discussing the crime whodunit novel, Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, released in 1934. Now, this book was a good read. It was very enjoyable, and the plot of the story is somewhat simple but really entertaining. This book centers around a detective or investigator, Hercule Poirot, who boards a train, and on this train a murder happens. With the train being stuck in snow, being unable to move, everybody on the train becomes a suspect, and it's now up to Hercule Poirot to go through and investigate and interview all suspects to determine who committed a murder on the Orient Express. Throughout the book you find that the gentleman that was killed may have not been killed just out of sheer chance, and there may be a reason why he got killed. Throughout the process of elimination and interviews Hercule Poirot conducts, he will find out whom was the murderer and whom on the train, well, wasn't telling the truth when being investigated. It is a classic whodunit story. What I liked about this book is that it is a classic whodunit story, and the plot line is simple. A train can't go anywhere. Somebody has been murdered. Somebody on board the train was the killer. Let's find out whom the killer was. This book, while it did start a bit slow, it had me not putting it down throughout the middle part, and especially at the end. Boy oh boy, was the ending shocking to me. In addition, I did enjoy the character backstories of everybody that Hercule Poirot interviews, because it gave me a clear picture as the reader who exactly was on the train, in what carriage, and potentially why they were there to start with. But I won't give the ending away if you haven't read it. But that ending, I absolutely love the ending of this book. And I never saw it coming. And I'll tell you, I was umming and ahhing about who did the murder throughout 2/3 of the book. And when it was revealed, my jaw hit the ground, and I was just like, wow, that is a very good plot twist. What I disliked about the book, as I said, the first probably third of the book is very slow going, but that's solely because you're introducing the characters and it's leading up until the murder. So, I mean, it's not a biggie, but for me, it was just very slow going. In addition to this, English is my first language. I read in English, and some of the names, especially like Hercule Poirot, I found it hard to remember whom was whom because of the non-English typical name. But again, that's just my own shortcoming, and that's taking nothing away from Agatha Christie or her writing. I did find that in my book that I read, it had a little diagram of the train and also the carriage compartment of where every suspect was staying and what compartment of the train. I found myself referencing back to this because I was just unable to make the connection between whom the character was and the name. But besides that, as I said, they are my own shortcomings. It was a great read. Now, the question you are probably asking yourself is, will this book go on my bookshelf? The answer is no. And the reason for that is it's just my own personal preference. Because I had to disconnect between the foreign names and the characters themselves, and I was referring back to the map and guide of the carriage diagram, that it just put me off a little bit where, and this is going to sound very uneducated of myself, if every name was in English, because I'm an English reader, if every name was in English and it wasn't, say, French, then yes, I could possibly make that connection a lot better. And I may be sitting here going, yes, this book would sit on my bookshelf. But unfortunately, with that disconnect, unfortunately not. But in saying that, it is still a great read. But you, the listener, can make your own decision, especially if you haven't read Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express and are wanting to. You can view our links in our bio, where you will be able to pick up this book via Amazon, be it in paper, Kindle, or audiobook version, to give it a whirl and to see for yourself if you had any disconnect with the characters, if you absolutely love this book, or you've read it and you're like me going, okay, I've read it, but unfortunately it's not one I'm going to keep and reread again. And as always, as one book closes here at the Weekend Readers, another book has to open. And it is now time to find out what the Weekend Readers' the next read will be. The next read is brought to you by Fontytees. It's just fonts, on teas, and more. Visit today at fontytees.com. We can confirm that the next read is The Earthquake Bird by Susanna Jones. Now, I picked this book up because it had a big sticker on it going, it's a Netflix film. So I was like, hey, let's give a book a whirl before, like the Murder on the Orient Express, before we actually watch the movie. So hopefully this will be a decent read and a good one because it's been turned into a movie also. So that is our episode for today. If you are reading along with us at home and wish to engage us, feel free to do so. We are on Instagram at the Weekend Readers Book Club. We are also on YouTube, The Weekend Readers. Until next time, thank you again for joining us, and bookworms, happy reading.